Well, our home gardens and farmers markets are harvesting fresh fall veggies and produce.
How do you eat it all before it goes bad? It's a big problem in my house. Lifestyle and parenting expert Sherry French joining us with smart and creative ways to lengthen the life of your produce so you don't have to eat it now, you can enjoy it through the months. Welcome to our show.
Hi, Sherry.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, and the best part, you do not need to be an expert in a kitchen, which is me.
Right, me too. Well, I just left and I was so sad because I saw all this mold on the strawberries and I'm like, gosh, we didn't get to eat them. I feel so bad when I'm throwing fresh food out.
Yeah, and you don't need to. So let's start with something simple that I know everybody is doing, but maybe not doing it the right way. Freezing. The first and most important thing, label what you are putting into your freezer, what it is and the date you put it away, and using the FIFO method, first in, first out. So you take the oldest out first and use it, but also how many times you go into that freezer, look at it with no label, and you know you remembered putting it in, but when you take it out, you have no clue what's in your freezer. So when you've got fruit especially, first just grab a cookie sheet and some parchment paper, whether you're doing strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, peaches, actually put them onto that cookie sheet, put the cookie sheet into your freezer. Once it's frozen, pull it out, then put it in your freezer bag. So when they thaw, they're not all in a clump together.
Nice, okay. How long do you have to leave that cookie sheet in there? Sometimes that's a problem if your freezer.
Yeah, well, again, you got to make some arrangements, which I had to do. But yeah, it does not take long, especially I did blueberries just recently. Within an hour, they were ready to go into the freezer.
Good. So you could even maybe just move a few things out for dinner, freeze it, and put it back in. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. All right. So let's move on to blanching, which we do eventually want to freeze the produce. So beans, again, very plentiful in gardens and farmers markets, but we have to blanch first. Sounds fancy, but easy to do. You're going to get a pot of boiling water going. You're going to drop beans in for 2 to 3 minutes, immediately transfer them to a bowl of ice water. That's the blanching. It will keep them bright green, keep the nutrients in, and stop the enzymes from working. So then once you dry them off completely, and I just use a paper towel, put them into your labeled freezer bag so they're ready to go in January or whenever you want to eat them again.
Can you help me with this? What's the best way to defrost? Freezing is a great tip, but now, does it vary with the kind of food it is? What's the best way to defrost this stuff?
Well, again, I'm always the panic lady, right? You forget to take something out of the freezer and run it underwater. I know that's not the right way to do it. I think the right way is putting it in your fridge if you're a planner, but I know most of us moms are not. So again, many different ways. You've got to work with your life and figure it out how it's going to work for you. But I think putting it in the fridge first and letting it, thaw is the best way to do it.
They say that is the best, but I know I've had to resort to the water and the microwave too.
Microwave, yeah.
Now you also say drying. I have never done any dehydration. That sounds difficult.
Well, my house is obsessed, and you do not need a dehydration machine. All you need is an oven. So we've been making, and my husband has been making sun-dried tomatoes nightly for about the last 6 weeks. It's crazy. They don't even make it to our freezer. But I've got 2 great ones. Apple chips. So all you're going to need to do is set your oven to 225, grab that cookie sheet and parchment paper again, slice your apples, top them with some cinnamon sugar, and in about an hour, all of these edges are going to curl up. I did mine in about an hour and 15 minutes, and these have been in Annika's lunches daily. Great, healthy chips. But the sun-dried tomatoes, I know cherry tomatoes are very, very plentiful right now. So easy to make sun-dried tomatoes. In about 3 hours, setting your oven to 200 degrees, using that cookie sheet again, put some thyme and oregano on top. You're going to let them cook, and they'll turn a little bit darker red and a little bit rubbery. And if they can make it through the evening, which they cannot, you can actually put these in the freezer. And when you want to use them for your pasta, your salads, in the winter months, soak them in water or soak them in oil, and they're ready to go in the winter.
Wow, who knew? Okay, cut them in half and bake them for a really long time. Canning, our grandmothers talked about canning. It sounds like something we don't do anymore, but you say it can be easy.
Well, you can cheat. I call this the cheat canning because I do not have a weekend to give up to, boil all of my jars. But cucumbers, again, a hot thing in my house, pickles. And these baby cucumbers are very plentiful right now. So, easy way to can these and make pickles. Grab the small ones, cut them in halves or quarters, depending on what you're looking to make. Put them into a jar, and then you're going to add some dill and garlic. You're then going to mix in a bowl some water, some cider vinegar, some pickling spices, and some salt. Fill it up to the top so you're covering the pickles completely, or the cucumbers. Leave them on your counter with the lid slightly open 2 to 4 days away from the sunlight. You're going to test them so you've got the flavor right. Once they're ready to go, these will last, again, if your family will allow it, for up to 6 months in your fridge, and they taste amazing.
Wow, making your own pickles.
And no boiling the jars and spending a weekend, which I love.
Oh, and I like how you made it easy. All right, some great tips so we don't have to be throwing away our food. Thank you so much, Sherry.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
No, it's a great idea because groceries have gotten so expensive too. You can follow Sherry on Instagram, and all you have to do is go to @momhint. She has lots of how-tos and recipes there. Mom Hint, one word.